Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Mad Skills Sunday, featuring AJ.fpv. Really cool dude that I ran into, met, hung out with at Rotor Riot Rampage this year. And I've had a tab opened with his channel for the last, 3 weeks, wanting to do one of these. And today is perfect because I'm completely exhausted. I'm not ready. I don't have anything going. And so, yeah, I don't have anything that, I've tested really in the last, few days. So, yeah. Mad Skills Sunday, yo. Usually it's Mad Skills Monday, but, Skills Sunday. We got a little bit of alliteration. Leave me alone! In the chat, Bob Bruce was first. Cole Powers, FPV Toast, Micro PP, just like me. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. We Bleed FPV, Tongue Out FPV, Gusto, Brandon Woodford, Freelojo, Notice, Scott FPV, Frank Nicholas, Rock Crawler, Northern Tier, Walter, Scotty Scott, Kilo Zebra, Douglas Otwell, Perside FPV, Cole Powers, Striker, Rob Axelson, Kilo Zebra, Striker again, Dave S., Ram Donko, what's up, everybody? If I missed you, sucks to be you! Just come back to the next one. Say something early and I'll give you a shout out. If you want to talk to me directly in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange for me. You can do that with each other. If you want to get Frank Nicholas's attention, in your little chat message, type Frank space Nicholas. And for Frank, his own name will light up an orange. That's how you do it, my friends. That's how the internet works. My website is CiottiFPV.com. This is where you can support me. This is a completely crowdfunded thing that we've got going. This is my full-time job. So if you have a couple extra bucks, Patreon definitely helps me out the most, and you'll get tons of benefits. First and foremost, I will keep doing this and tell you the stuff not to buy. And then, some of that money that you save not buying trash, you can throw me, every single month through Patreon. $3, $5, $10, $20, whatever you got. $3 a month is general admission. It gets you all the benefits other than the giveaways. If you want to get in on monthly giveaways, there's the $5, $10, and $20 tiers or the $30 tier. $5 a month will enter you to win Tiny Whoop and Toothpick parts, $10 3-inch micro brushless and Cinewhoop parts, $20 5-inch parts, $30 a month, $1 a day. It'll put you into all three of those giveaways. Every single first Monday of the month. That's how you do it, my friends. You're going to get access to the Patreon. There's tons of technical articles up there. You're going to get emails for all these live streams. You're going to get full access to the Discord, where I'm also going to let you know when I'm streaming. There's a YouTube playlist that you'll get access to with a ton of really cool stuff on it. Yeah, you're going to love it. $3 a month is only 10 cents a day. You're into FPV. You've got an extra 10 cents a day. It's not the cheapest hobby. It is it is one of the cheapest hobbies I've ever had, though. Maybe, no, it's not the cheapest. Couples dancing, which is my newest hobby, is hands down the cheapest. All you got to do is buy shoes. And most people have shoes, so it's pretty much just pay for the lessons and go learn with your partner and connect with them and have a better life. What else is happening over here? Here's the screaming schedule. Etsy, I got some fun stuff over there. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. I've been doing this for over 8 years. I would love to have a one-on-one session and really dump all of the knowledge into your brain that you're looking for. I put it all out here on these live streams, but it's a bitch to kind of sort through all of them and find it. So if you got more money than time, book me through Fiverr or just message me, and we can do one-on-one sessions for a half an hour or an hour. It's super reasonable, and yeah, hammer me with questions, or I can walk you through building better, flying better, tuning better, all kinds of good stuff. It's going to be the fastest way to learn for sure. I've taken some folks who were fairly new from a building standpoint or a flying standpoint or just whatever, and within a month or two, they are where pilots are a year and a half, 2 years in. You have a lot of specific questions in this hobby, and it's really difficult to get them all answered and get half-decent answers to them, right? Facebook groups are one of the worst places to go for logical, semi-correct information. it is, just to give you some idea, I've been paying attention to this over the last like year or two. More than 50% of the answers that you're going to get on Facebook groups is dead ass wrong. So for the love of God, don't trust anything from a Facebook group unless you can't even, I was about to say, like, unless there's a bunch of people backing it up, but there's so many people that don't know shit about shit that are just desperate to feel and or seem like they know shit about shit that, like, you can't even do that. You gotta look through each answer, and you gotta, like, go to that person's page and specifically, like, look to see how long they've been into FPV, look at their flying, look at their building. It's a mess. It really is. It can be done, but boy does it take time. So yeah, there you go. There's also a Teespring store for some fun shirts, and there's a whole bunch of affiliate links. It's 2024, my friends. If you're not using affiliate links on every single order that you do on the internet, you are personally hurting and destroying the lives of content creators. Replace your bookmarks with affiliate links, and then you don't even have to think about them. Replace your browser URL bar suggestions with affiliate links, and then you don't have to think like, oh, I'm ordering from Brain 3D. Oh, that's right, Ciotti has the affiliate link there. Let me go to his website and click it. No. Go to all these websites and change your bookmarks if you use bookmarks, or if you're like me and when you go to Amazon you just type AMA and it guesses the rest. Right now you're going to type AMA and it's probably going to guess like Amazon.com. Well, off on the right side of that suggestion, there's going to be a little X here, and there's going to be an option to remove that suggestion. Remove all of your current Amazon suggestions or Race Day Quad suggestions or Oh My God suggestions, and then click my affiliate links a bunch of times, and then you'll be tricking your browser into thinking that my affiliate link is always where you want to go when you type AMA or AC or UMMA, right? That's a way. If you don't use my affiliate links, use Joshua's. If you don't use Joshua's, use somebody else's. But it is free money, and it's impossible to remember every time you're doing an order. So do it the smart way. Spend 10 minutes and click away from. Leave this live stream on in the background. Open up a separate window and do it now. I'm just going to be bullshitting. You don't need to see my big dumb face. That's all I got for you in terms of the shillings. In chat, I was about to tell you to tag me in chat, but I already told you that. Brandon Woodford tagged me and said, "What's up, CiottiFPV? It's been a minute. Good to have you back, brother. Hope you're doing well." Freelojo leaving the CiottiFPV.com link in the chat. Thank you for that. Rockcrawler says, "Hey." Cole Powers says, "You should have a pre-intro scene in OBS where we just watch Joshua's stream with you until it's over, and then you kick it off." That's a fun idea, but then every single time in Joshua's YouTube studio, there's going to be a copyright ding for me that he's going to have to manually go in there, and it would just be annoying. It would annoy the shit out of him, I'm sure. Rob Axelson says, "Hola." Kilo Zebra says, "Need to know CiottiFPV's stance on lethal strike." Tiny whoops. I laugh, but actually, a year or two ago, there was a YouTube video floating around of tiny whoop sized little things that they were building like facial recognition into, so that it could like identify the person that that you told it to, and it would rocket at their face, and then it had like a tiny little shape charge in it. So as much as I laugh about that, it is a thing that almost certainly already exists, knowing what I know. So yeah, scary stuff, man. It's incredibly sad to see the hobby that we've, some of us have literally like marched in Washington to try to save, get the treatment that it's getting recently. It makes total sense that this is happening, and to be honest, I can't believe it didn't happen sooner, but it's incredibly sad. And it's also very sad to see companies that are so close to Rotor Riot participating in that feels awful. Rotor Riot is Rotor Ride is one of the reasons that I got into this hobby. And I've always been a huge fan, even through all of the trials and tribulations and shit that's happened over the years. But yeah, what has happened over the last couple of weeks is, on one hand, completely inevitable, and it doesn't surprise me at all. But it's incredibly disappointing that, at the very least, I don't know if they could, but I really wish that they had figured out a way to, like, at least hide it better. You know, like, it's just so obvious, and it's just so, I don't know, it just feels like such a slap in the face. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, but what are we going to do? Rob Axelson says, did you guys make it to the Franklin Institute or the Reading Street Market when you were in Philly? We didn't. We only had, like, 2 or 3 hours in Philly. So we had just enough time to go to Love Park, Art Museum Steps, and Maggie, the apartment that Maggie grew up in. And then we were out of there. So we really, and to be honest, we didn't even really plan to go to Philadelphia. We were just able to pick Sage up a little bit early, which gave us an extra couple of hours. So, and the way that Maps took us, it dumped us off right in Cherry Hill. And I was like, well, I mean, we've got a couple extra hours. We can just go right over the Tacoma Palmyra Bridge and do like 1 or 2 quick things. And everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. So, yeah. Freelojo also putting the CiottiFPV.com link in the chat. Thank you for that. Kilo Zebra says, do you usually kill and dispose of 1S lipos as soon as they puff at all, or you try to squeeze a few extra flights out of them? I am a cheap bastard. I will run them. I don't care if they're puffy. If they're still flying okay, I will run them until the bitter end. And then I discharge them on the quad, and then I just get rid of them because they're so small that, like, unless they're fully charged, they're not going to really shoot any fire. I don't even know if they'll shoot fire if they're fully charged. I mean, most batteries, if they are at storage voltage or below, won't shoot fire. Even big boy batteries. So yeah, tiny whoop batteries, like, I just don't care about. I don't bother trying to discharge them down to 0. Everything else I do. Everything else I because I have these little lipo killer things that you just plug in and they discharge them down to 0 for you. But yeah, I run the tiny whoop batteries until the bitter end. I run everything to the bitter end. I have often thought of changing the name of this channel and or starting a new channel literally called Budget FPV. Because pretty much from day one, I mean, from day one for me in FPV, I was unemployed. Like, I got into this, I got out of motorsport and into this hobby because I couldn't afford motorsport anymore. And so, like, 99% of the decisions that I've made in FPV have had budget be a big part of them. It's one of the reasons that I originally flew micros and tiny whoops, and it's just been a part of a very high priority for me, right? Like, we've got all these priorities in our head, and for me, budget has always been really close to the top, if not at the top, with most decisions that I make. So yeah, I'm a cheap bastard. Rab Axelson with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, because I ordered stuff online and forgot your affiliate links. Thank you, brother. That is very cool of you. Striker says, yo, 2 more days until eBay gives you my cash from selling old Keeb. Time to order some more batteries and maybe some better motors. Very, very cool. Freelojo dropping the CiottiFPV.com link as well. Thank you, dude. YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. We Bleed FPV says, amen, brother. Thank you, homie. Massive shout out to We Bleed FPV. Super, super, super generous. The Tiny Whoop giveaway on this last stream was like all stuff that We Bleed recently sent me. And yeah, Zotac has been extremely, I can't think of the word all of a sudden. One word is gracious, but there was another word that I would rather use. Generous, that's the word. Over the last couple of years, and it makes a huge difference. So yeah, shout out to them. If you need 0702 32,000 kV motors, or if you've lost your goddamn mind, you can get 40,000 kV motors. Weebleed is the spot that has them in stock right now. So yeah, head over there. And I do have an affiliate link. You better click it, you dirty bastards. Elias says, I waited every Monday for the new video, but it's so sad that Rotor Riot uses the money they get from hobbyists to build weapons. I don't know about that. I doubt that they use our money to build weapons. They don't need our money to build weapons. The amount of money that they will get for building weapons will... The amount of money that they make from us will pale in comparison pretty much immediately from the amount of money the amount of government money they will get, right? The old analogy about there's a quote in Independence Day that's just so perfect that I keep wanting to memorize, that just so perfectly sums it up. Independence Day quote hammers. Let's see how good. Oh wow! I Google searched Independence Day. I spelled it wrong too. Independence Day quote hammers, and it just came right up with it. You don't actually think that he's talking about the government. He says you don't actually think they spend $20,000 on a hammer, $30,000 on a toilet seat, do you? So yeah, it's they're not doing that, but it's like, oh, I don't understand how nobody was like, hey, hold on, the entire FPV community is gonna lose their minds at this. Like, it's too close. It's like Red Cat, like oh god, no, why? And then, like, I don't know, just it's just insane. It's just insane. Design a completely different frame, right? Like make it, put little toy guns like on it or something. Make it look completely different than what is currently being sold on Rotor Riot's website, right? Like just take a step back from the whole situation before it all happens and be like, hold on, how can we at least make this not seem so easy to see through, right? Like, at the very least. Or just don't do it. But, you know, it's America, right? Like, this is America. Money before anything. Right into our graves. So, yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It really, really, really sucks. Striker says it's so sad, especially with Drib being the CEO of Unusual Machines. Yep. Rob Axelson says, yes, I didn't realize that's what Unusual Machines was until all of this happened. I actually, at Rampage, I was like, dude, congratulations on the Unusual Machines thing. Like, that's huge. I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I had known at the time what Unusual Machines actually was. Rob Axon says, yes, 1S lipos on a full charge will light off. Puppy got one, chewed it, and it burned through her dog bed. Jesus, that's right. I remember that, Rob. Okay, good to know. That is fully charged 4.35 volts, though. As you get closer to 3.8, all batteries, from what I've seen, will kind of stop shooting fire. Tiny Whoop batteries are very small, so yeah. But look, fully charged batteries, just in general, it doesn't matter what battery it is, what LiPo it is. If it's fully charged, be careful with it. Do not put it on carpet. Do not put it near flammable things. For Tiny Whoop batteries, I really like these things from Weebleed. This is their battery case. I'm sorry, their Band-Aid case. Pull the Band-Aids out, and it is perfect for storing your Tiny Whoop batteries. Somebody did say, though, that the BT 2.0 leads in this case, if you flip this thing upside down, like weirded out to do it. The leads on the batteries, sometimes they poke a little bit out from the plastic, and this is metal. So what you might want to do is just throw a piece of electric tape. I've been meaning to do it. But I keep these things right side up in my gear. But then if you take your backpack off and put it upside down or something like that, it can flip it over. But yeah, super easy fix. Just put a piece of electric tape up here, or just take a fucking can of spray paint and just anything to just keep that from being metal. I've been meaning to do it, but time eludes me. Yeah, that's metal. If a battery shoots fire, it's contained in metal. It's only going to shoot a little bit of fire. You'll be fine. For big boy batteries, my recommendation is every single time you do an order from now on, look in that website's battery section, and they will probably have 1 or 2 little Kevlar fireproof bags. Buy one. And then the next time you do an order, buy another one. And the next time you do an order, buy another one. Before long, you will have 5 or 10 of these things, and you put them everywhere. I like to tuck the little lid in so it's like this, right? Like when there's a battery sitting in here, if it shoots fire, the fire's only going to go straight up. This sits over there where there's nothing above it. You've got all the protection on the sides and the bottom, so it's not going to catch the carpet on fire or the stuff that it's sitting next to. It would be better to close it, but yeah. Once you have a whole bunch of these, you put them all over the place. You put them near your charger. You put them wherever you fly from the house. If you fly the front yard, you fly the backyard. Put one of these near where you fly from. And you just have these things all over the place. And then there's no excuse ever to put a fully charged battery down on a flammable surface or near anything flammable. You always put them into the Kevlar bags, and it just makes your life simple. You can have a strategy all that you want about being safe with these batteries when they're fully charged, but there's always going to be that one time where it's like, oh, I forgot to bind the thing, but my tool's in the basement. Let me just put my shit down. I just got to run downstairs for a minute, and that will be the time that the battery catches on fire and lights your house on fire. So look, like, you have to make it easy for yourself. You have to make it so that there is just never an excuse to not put a fully charged battery down into a safe place. And these Kevlar bags are super cheap, and they're on all the websites, and they've got different sizes. The other cool thing is when you get a different one every time, you have a whole bunch of different sizes, and then like over time you'll figure out like oh, all of my long range 6S batteries fit perfectly in this one bag. Cool, this is my 6S long range battery bag. And then you'll have another one that you're like, oh, all of my 4S 850 mAh batteries fit perfectly in this bag. And then and so you've got like these bags that are just the right size, and they fit, they save you a little bit of space in your flight bag or whatever. It's a really easy way of not burning your house down and killing your family, or at the worst, and at the opposite of the worst, losing everything that you own, right? So do it. Be careful with fully charged batteries, my friends. They're violent motherfuckers. Rob, thank you for reminding me of that, rather. Elias says, I still think they are crossing a big red line. For sure. It's insane. Rockcrawler says, sorry, with a couple of up arrows. He says, I love how Bardwell put it. If your friend enlisted in the army, would you disown them? Oh, interesting. I haven't heard Joshua talk about it yet, and him and I haven't just chatted with him just one-on-one in a while. Interesting. That's a super interesting take on them. First of all, some people would disown them. And that's okay. That's your personal decision. You've decided that your friend's decision to potentially go kill people is unacceptable to you, and that's okay. You're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to to have to set boundaries and just be like, nope, that's not okay. So you're allowed to, you are perfectly within your right to do that. But that's a really interesting take on it. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't thought much about it because there's nothing that I can do to affect it. And it's kind of like, well, I'm surprised that this didn't happen earlier, and a bunch of the other manufacturers have done it. Look, like, I try really hard to not hold people, especially companies, up to my standards. Like, my standards are mine. I would love it if everybody, did that on their own, but that's completely unrealistic, right? And so I know that all I can do is just have, I'm not going to hold everybody up to my standards. I am certainly going to be critical of them and be very thoughtful of where I spend my money, right? So, like, if Rotor Riot and Pyrodrone or GetFPV or whatever both have the same thing in stock, I'm going to buy it from Pyrodrone now. Sorry. But yeah, that's just what's going to happen until Pyrodrone starts, right, doing something that I don't like or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. The whole thing just sucks. I just, like I said earlier, I wish they'd made it. I don't understand how they didn't hide it a little bit better. I mean, that's obvious. It's like a weird thing to think and say, but like, it's true. Like, I don't know. I really would rather them have not done it at all. But at the very least, yeah, I don't know. It's one big old shit show, and we've all got to take a bite. No, we don't. We don't have to take a bite. Luckily, we live in this country. We don't live where we're at war right now yet. And so the consequences of what they're doing won't really hurt us. Technically, it could help us. God forbid something ever does happen, right? And we have to use them to defend ourselves. Technically, it could help us. But, I don't know. Isn't our military big enough? Isn't spending, like, before drones, we already spent more on our military than, like, the second place through 27th place, I think it is, combined, right? Like, we don't really need it. But I don't know, whatever. Rob Axelson says Rob Axelson says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Great Mike Tyson quote. Notice says check the first 30 minutes of Joshua's stream. Jesus. I was assuming people were gonna hammer the hell out of him about it on today's stream because this is the first stream since it all completely went nutso. Cole Power says, in my opinion, depends on which war they're promoting. Some people are 100% anti-war. Yep, and that's pretty much me. I am probably 99.9% anti-war, right? So, yeah, but that's just me. Again, I don't expect anyone to have that same exact stance as me. You're free to believe whatever you want to believe. And yeah. Elias says, I'd say the problem isn't that FPV drones are used in war. The problem is that a hobby store builds or helps to build lethal drones. Yeah. I mean, they're not the first, though. There are a bunch of companies that have been doing it, right? It is why a lot of our stuff has been out of stock for the last year and a half. So it's like, it's not new. It's just, I wish that less of them did it. Weebleed says, huge shit show. Yeah, indeed. Half Fast says, would love to see a demonstration of your stick movement when doing a slow controlled loop, like when you're in your kitchen. Super simple, Half Fast. I don't do I don't do stick cams because you can see it and you can hear it. When I fly upstairs, you can't necessarily hear it, so you lose the ability to hear what I'm doing on the throttle. When I'm flying here in the basement, if I roll, you can see it. If I pitch, you can see it. If I yaw, you can see it. If I move the throttle up and down, you can hear it, right? You can hear the motors spin up and down. When I'm upstairs, you can't. So here's all it is. And all it is a power loop. All I'm doing around the living room there is a climb up the wall, and then I do kind of let it stall for a second, but it's just like a laid out power loop, right? So as I come up towards the wall, I'm pitching back. So as you pitch back, you're traveling forward, you're spilling thrust rearwards and downwards, right? Downwards to make sure you don't crash into the ground, rearwards to move yourself forward. So as you come up to the wall, you're going to start pitching back. This is the beginning of a power loop. Every single power loop begins with pitching back, right? So there's nothing magical there. So you're going to pitch back, pitch back, pitch back, and you're going to basically pull down and just leave it. And it's just going to happen here. And now as you get up to here, you're going to actually hammer the throttle. And you don't want to hammer the throttle here because you've still got that forward momentum. If you hammer the throttle here, it's going to throw you up and you're going to smash face first into the wall. You got to keep pitching back. And then once you get back to somewhere around here, it depends on how fast you're going. If you're going really fast, you're going to have to pitch back all the way up here because you've got all that forward momentum to kill, right? So it's a timing thing. If you're going really slow, you might be able to hammer the throttle about here because you don't have all that forward momentum. It's just a thing you have to do it over and over and over again. So you come back, and then once you get somewhere here, and now look, your camera is looking up, so you're kind of like looking up at the top of the wall. You're going to blast the throttle. You've already been carrying maintenance throttle. So as soon as you cross this level point, as soon as you get up into here, it's going to start to slow down, even with just maintenance throttle, because we're flying level still. So it is going to start slowing down. And if you start the move early enough, maybe this will kill all the momentum. You actually don't want that, though. If you do this and you kill all the momentum by the time you get to the wall, any throttle that you're gonna add is going to throw you diagonally back. You kind of don't want that. So you want to come up here, you want to still have some forward momentum, and then you blast the throttle. And when you know you've done it right is when you trace perfectly up the wall. Like your view will come up to the wall, and then you'll start going up, and the distance between you and the wall will not change. That's how you get good at, there's not really a name for it, but it's something that I love doing, which is just like pitching back and then firing straight up in the air. And you can use it in a million different really cool ways. You can use it to like climb, in this case, climb a wall. You can use it with like a tree. You can throw yourself like perfectly vertically up a tree and then like pitch forward and wrap around the top of the tree. If there's like a gate up above you or like a gap up above you, you can use it to like fly down and then fire up through it, which is like a cool little like surprise. Like this gap just like appears all of a sudden. There's all kinds of really cool things you can do with this move. And so you're going to hammer the throttle, and you'll know if you got it right by your proximity to the wall. And then what I do, so all we've done is the beginning of a power loop. Basically, we've pitched back a little bit, and then at some point we're going to blip the throttle all the way up, all the way down, nice and quick. Depends on how powerful the rig is, but yeah, you got to figure that out for yourself. Also depends on how high you want to throw it. So we're still pitching back. We've blipped the throttle. I actually leave the pitch here. I try to, like, one of my goals is to do as little as possible on the yaw, pitch, and roll. The less I do in here, the smoother the footage is going to look. And that's like everything for me, right? Like I'm more of a cinematic pilot than anything else. And so everything I do, I try to do as little as possible. So for me, this move is going to be pitch back, blip the throttle, leave it pitched back, and then it's another big throttle blip, and I'm just leaving it. I'm just leaving it pitched back. Although the second throttle blip, a lot of times I will give it a little pop of backwards pitch. So, approach the wall, start pitching back, throw it up the wall. Once it gets to the apex and it like stalls in space for a split second, we've continued to pitch back. that's when I'm going to hammer the throttle the next time to get the power loop going. And a lot of times what I'll do is hammer the throttle and then blip the pitch back like I just showed you. And what that's doing is it's getting the camera pointed in the direction of travel. If I don't do that, it's going to slowly pitch back, it's going to climb up the wall, it's going to shoot backwards, and as it's shooting backwards, it's going to continue to slowly come around, and I'm just blind. I don't know where the hell I'm going, and all the viewer is going to see is the ceiling whizzing by in front of you, or if you're outside, the sky is not really going to move much. But so on that second hit, I'm going to just give it a stab of downward pitch, and that's going to throw it like this, so that the rest of the move, the camera is pointing in the direction of travel, which looks better, helps you spot your landing. And then what I try to do is actually, so I was pitched back a little bit, I try to go, and then bring it exactly back to the same spot. I want the whole thing to be as smooth as possible. So it's just smooth, 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 quick little jut, like little whatever, so that you can see where you're going again, and then smooth, 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 smooth the rest of the way. Because of the fact that you're blasting the throttle, everything kind of starts to move quickly anyway, so you can really hide that second pitch back. And it really becomes like a seamless kind of thing. For a regular power loop, it's only one throttle stab. For a regular, and this looks fine doing it this way. This is just like me adding a little bit of style to it, but to do it with a regular power loop, it's the same thing, right? Your maintenance throttle on the way in, you start pitching back, you blast the throttle. A lot of times you can do that same little stab. You don't have to, but you can. I think it looks better when you do it. And then you just ride the rest of the move out and use the throttle to keep you off the ground as it continues to rotate around. That's really all that's going on. It's just a little bit, it's a power loop with a little like wall elevation increase thing thrown in the beginning. And so yeah, that's all I'm doing. All I'm doing is pitching back, and then it's throttle, and then throttle with another pitch back stab. Stab the throttle, stab the, you can technically stab the throttle and pitch back at the same time, but don't. Stab the throttle, and then on the way down, that's when you're going to pitch back. If you stab the throttle and pitch back at the exact same time, it's going to rotate as it's, like, so you're coming up the wall like this, and so if you do them at the same time, it's going to rotate, and the throttle is going to kind of pitch it down. You don't want that. You want a big throttle blast and then to come around, because you want the throttle, that big throttle blast, to send you up, right? That's a power loop. You need that upward and backward momentum. So it's pretty easy to do that. You're already pitching down. You're going to stab the throttle, and then on the way down, you pull them both down, right? Versus like, you don't want that. You don't want this at the same time. You want to trace up and then pull them both back, and the throttle continues to go down, and the pitch goes back to where you had it. So that's pretty much it. It looks really cool and it looks really confusing, but it's just a little bit of it's a power loop with a little bit of English on it. You know what I mean? To put it into pool terms for you. Rob Oxison says, so how was the pizza in Wildwood? Changing the content. It was awesome. Northeast Pizza is the greatest, and I'd forgotten how good it was, and I'd forgotten how shitty that Georgia Pizza is. Yeah, pizza in Wildwood was awesome. Pizza in New York was, of course, awesome. Yeah, get it together, South. Figure out how to make proper pizza, you losers, and sell it by the slice, for fuck's sake. Go-Kart Mozart says, howdy everybody, lunch break at the Airsoft Field. Nice. Walter says, on Steam, Liftoff is on sale. Just bought it. They have Tiny Whoop DLC. Is it worth the do? I don't think so. For me, you can fly Tiny Whoops inside the house, so why would you sim fly them? Just fly them for real inside the house. For me, the sim is for so I don't have to go outside, basically. Also, Tiny Whoops are so durable that, like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of benefits to Tiny Whooping in the sim. Other than, I guess, like, if you really want to practice something super confusing. It does make sense for that. And yeah, I mean, supporting liftoff, supporting Velocidrone is a good thing, right? Like these are guys that have made really cool sims specifically for us. So there's nothing wrong with supporting them. It's a really good idea. Just Mo says, I bought the 40,000 kV motors Cockroach Race 65. What's that? I guess that's the LiteAF. Titanium screws, nice. What else can I do to counteract HD0 Whoop lightweight to make it faster, floatier? That's about it, man. I mean, you got to look at everything. You got to look at each individual part, and you need to find the lightest weight one that's not hot garbage. So, like, the ORT micro V antenna is probably a really good idea. Look at your canopy. Try to look at the different canopy options. Yeah, you just got to look at each individual piece of the rig and try to make it as light as possible, but also with durability. You've already got the lightest motors. You've got the lightest frame, titanium screws. I mean, so you're like 80% of the way there. Nice short battery leads. The lightest canopy you possibly can. The lightest antenna that you possibly can, and that's really about it. Striker says, any 3.5-inch frames on the lighter side that you recommend, sub 50 grams ish. I do not recommend 3.5-inch frames for lightweight stuff. You end up with something. Is that Teddy outside being a bad? You end up with something that flies like a toothpick. If you're going to build something that's 3.5-inch rig, in my opinion, you might as well build something that flies like a 5-inch. So yeah, I don't know of any because I don't like the way that they fly. If you want to build something light, like sub 250, 3-inch is the way to go. 3.5-inch is not. You could certainly get a 3.5-inch frame and just put 3-inch props on it, but you sacrifice some durability. There's some extra weight there for no reason. So yeah, there aren't many 3-inch or 3.5-inch frames that exist. So you've probably got like 4 options. So yeah, it shouldn't be that hard of a decision. But yeah, I don't recommend a lightweight 3.5-inch frame. If you're going to build a 3.5-inch rig, it should be like from 280 to 320 grams or so, maybe even up to like 350 grams all up weight. And a lighter frame is going to explode when you crash it. So yeah. Striker also says, also, do you think I should get a Hero 11 Mini for 5-inch or an Insta360 Go 3 and stick to micros? I can't make that decision for you, brother. Those are two completely different things. That's a total personal preference thing. Yeah, those are two drastically different builds that are going to be used in two completely different scenarios, right? Like the 5-inch rig is going to be used for flying big-ass locations where there's no chance of anybody ever walking out into the field or the area that you're flying in. Micros are a lot less stressful in that respect, but you still don't want to smack anybody in the face with them, obviously. Walter says, can you show like Joshua in liftoff how you do it? I could. It would take me a while to get that all fired up, though. It's just a power loop. I'm telling you guys, it's just a power loop. It's a power loop with proximity. And yeah, the whole, like, the confusing bit, I'm sure, is me showing you the pitch down and the throttle up. You're already doing it. You're already doing that in a power loop, and you just don't realize it. Put a camera on your sticks and watch yourself do a power loop, and you'll see what I mean. Half Fast says, that was awesome, Ciotti. Thank you. Great demonstration. You're certainly welcome, brother. Great question. Freeloader says, can you drop the link for how to do that antenna on that Whoop, the 90 degree? Drop the link for how to do that antenna on the Whoop, the 90 degree. The 90 degree? The 90 degree. Which one do you mean, brother? Mars says horrible advice. What are you talking about, Mars? Elias says, is the QX7 your daily driver? It is indeed. It was my first radio and still has a place in my heart. I loved it, but it doesn't have ELRS built in, so now it's the Boxer Max. Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 of these damn things now. People send them to me when they see that I use them. I have long hands. I don't have big, thick hands. I have long fingers. And the QX7 is like the only transmitter I've ever used that like just fits with my hands properly. And I've also been using them for 8 years, so for me to change now is kind of silly. I have no problems having a module in the back. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm in too deep, man. I'm in too deep to change. Can I get a channel says exactly? Just Mo says, or should I put it in a 75mm frame? If you want to fly it inside, 65mm. If you want to fly it outside, 75mm. That's the easiest. That's the easy button. Can you still fly a 65mm outside? Absolutely. Can you fly a 75mm side inside? Absolutely. But 65mm rigs are better inside. 75mm rigs are better outside. The end. If you want to argue that with me, you're wrong. Don't bother. You're just wrong. That's all there is to it. Zach says, I screwed up, was configuring a BETAFPV F4, and I accidentally turned on Serial RX in the USB VCP line. Now I can't connect to the flight controller. Did I brick it? Oh, man, I forget. Good God. Shit. It's been so long since somebody asked me that. Google will have the answer. Either Google or here on YouTube, somebody will have the answer to that. Type that question into Google or here on YouTube, and you'll find the answer. Or maybe somebody in chat remembers. It's been so long since that has happened. Shit, I don't remember. I don't remember if it's bricked. And I especially don't remember the fix if it's not bricked. But that is a not common thing, but that is a thing that has happened to loads of people. And the answer is on a forum somewhere. Google will dig enough to find it, and or on a YouTube video somewhere. Or a brilliant bastard in chat might pop up and be like, no, do this. You're good. Striker says, also, how do you make your 5-inch rig so light? 600 grams with an action cam is insane. I want to see how light I can possibly get a build with a Hero 11 Mini. Session 5, which is only an 80-gram HD camera. FPV Cycle Glide frame, which is very lightweight. Very lightweight motors, T-Motor F40 Pro 4s, or now the AMAX 2305 and a halves. Lightweight batteries. The Tattoo R-Line 6S 1050 mAh version 1. As little TPU as possible. The thing that really kills most builds from a weight perspective is loads of TPU shit. Like, you print a TPU antenna holder and you weigh it and you're like, oh, it's only 5 grams. That's not bad. And then you print arm protectors, and they're another 5 grams each. And then you print a front chin piece, and that's another 4 grams. And then you print your GoPro holder, and that's 25 grams. And then you print some other silly TPU thing to hold the wires down in the arms, and that's another 5 grams. And it just adds up. There's a philosophy within Mazda, who make some of the latest production cars ever, and it's called the gram theory. And it's an old school thing in motorsport, which is that grams make ounces and ounces make pounds. And it's just one of the most famous occurrences of it is when Porsche took the Porsche badge, the beautiful three-dimensional, epoxy, whatever, Porsche badge off the front of their really high performance 911 GT3s and GT4s, I believe, and they replaced it with a sticker. And it's like, what the fuck, right? Like, I just spent $100 grand on this Porsche, and there's a fucking sticker on the front hood with the Porsche logo rather than the nice little actual emblem / badge. That's an example of it. What did they save from that? 50 grams? But you save 50 grams with that, and then you save 100 grams over here, you save another 50 grams here, 100 here, 200 here, 200 here, 400 here, and it all adds up. And that's with any of these rigs, the way to save weight is to pick it up and to look at it. And you just stare at it. and you look at the props and you go, is there a lighter prop? And you look at the frame and you go, is there a lighter frame? You look at the motor screws, you go, are there lighter motor screws? You just, each individual piece, if you can save a fraction of a gram on a tiny whoop, you do it. On a bigger build, you're not really looking for fractions of a gram as much as you're looking for like 1 gram, 2 grams, 3 grams. If you can find 2 or 3 grams, you do it. As long as it's not going to hurt durability. That's the hard part, is finding ways to save weight that don't reduce the durability enough that, like, here's the thing though, like, as you save weight, you don't need stuff that's as durable. One of the reasons why the glide frame works so well for me is that my rigs are lightweight. If you build a glide frame at 700, 750 grams, you're going to break arms all the goddamn time. Guaranteed. It's not a frame that's meant to have that much energy behind the crashes. So that's sort of the art of it. That's the art of like building lightweight, is that as the weight comes down, you don't have to have stuff that's so durable. And there's like this, you know. What's up, CMYK? How are you, brother? Walter says, I'm doing it, but it would be nice content to see your style explained. It's 4 o'clock already. Bug me on another stream. I'm also completely exhausted right now. I'm running on about 5 hours of sleep in the last 72 hours. Any other stream, I'll hook up Liftoff, Velocidrone real quick, and I'll show you. So hit me on another stream, Walter, and I'll fire it up and do that for it. Also, I do want to start doing another Sim Sunday or two here or there. So yeah, if you guys remind me on like a Friday stream, like yo, can you do Sim Sunday this Sunday? I'll probably be like, yeah, sure. So yeah, if you guys remind me, I'll do another Sim Sunday. I don't want to do them every Sunday anymore. But I went from like doing them every Sunday to not doing them at all, and that's silly. So yeah, remind me on a Friday, and I'll do a Sim Sunday, and then you guys can hammer me with all the questions, or book me through Fiverr, and we'll do a Sim session. One of the things that has helped a lot of people really like get better is that they sit for a half an hour with me. We both go into Velocidrone, and we have a Skype call, so we can talk to each other, and then I can see their sticks, and they fly around, and I just tell them, and I make corrections. You know, you were too late on the throttle. Okay, try it again. Okay, get in there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Perfect. That one was just right. Do that again. Nope, now you're late. A little bit earlier. Okay, and I can really just like sit there and dial you in. That's the best way to get better as a pilot. And then that's, I actually bought a long time ago. So back in autocross days, for 7 or 8 years, I was an instructor, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Unfortunately, there's really no money in instruction in the motorsport world unless you are like absolute top tier level, which it takes an unbelievable amount of money to kind of get to in the world of motorsports. But I fell in love with doing it. Teaching people how to get better at something that's extremely difficult. So pretty early, not pretty early on, but like 4 years ago, basically, I bought the domain fpvinstructor.com. And that's when I started doing the Fiverr thing. And the Fiverr thing was just me getting started with it. And I thought, like, this might work. I might be able to do this. Unfortunately, it didn't. I was not able to get enough people willing to spend the money to, which I get, right? Because like you want to just go out and fly for fun. It seems kind of insane to spend $60 or $40, whatever, for hour, half an hour, for someone else to help you fly better. It's like, no, for free I can go out and do it myself, and then I can spend that $40 or $60 on replacement motors, because that's what's going to happen when I go out and fly hard. And so, but yeah, I absolutely love helping people get better at flying, because it is hard as hell, and I can in a half an hour, I can get you better than what it would take you, I shit you not, like months to do. And I absolutely love that. And I was trying to do that on the Sim Sundays too, but I mean, it's hard to do it it's hard to do it blindly. Like, I show you my stick overlays and I talk through it, but I can't make any corrections for you. Like, you then have to take that and somehow work it into your flying. I realized pretty quickly, and this is when Sim Sundays shifted to just like combat mode and like us all flying close together in a pack and whatnot. Yeah, for me to actually be able to make you a better pilot, I have to be able to see your stick overlay. I have to be able to talk to you live to make those corrections over and over and over and over again. And then, you feel it, and you get to the point where I'm like, yeah, that was it. That was the one. And you're like, did you feel that? Like, yep. All right, do it again. You're right, like I said a minute ago. But so yeah, that's some inside baseball for you. Rob Axton says, flew with some fixed wing guys, flew my tiny whoop. They had no issues until I put up a 5-inch rig. Then all of a sudden, we need to have a pilot meeting. I was asked to fly over there. Oh, so you weren't chasing them. You were just flying in the same spot. I gotcha. That's funny. I was asked to fly over there. Frilla just says, pick up the black whoop. There it is. There's a whole bunch of black whoops, though. I forgot to mention that at the intro of the live stream, you were looking at this one. It's a Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop micro V antenna with the VCI 0702 29,000 kV motors on GemFan 1219Ss. The beginning of the live stream was me flying around the very cool little cabin that Maggie and I rented in... Oh, god damn it. I almost said Luray. It's not in Luray. It begins with an L, though. I don't know. It's 2 hours from here, up in northwest Georgia. And it was Azalea's, Maggie's 13-year-old, 14-year-old's middle school graduation present. And her and her friend went up there. She was like, I just want to go somewhere that has a hot tub. And that spot that we found up in the mountains, it was super cool. The place was gigantic, gorgeous, very fun. I flew a bunch of batteries around. That was the very last battery that I flew. I did put the 2S 75mm rig up outside and just whipped it around a little bit. Nothing crazy there, but I'll continue to show that footage of the next bunch of live streams. At the beginning, at the end. At the end of this live stream, I'll play another battery that I flew inside. Very, very fun. I did notice, though, most of the flying that I did was with this guy. This is like the oldest Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop that there is. This is the one that I've put the most batteries through. It's on 0702 36,000 kV motors. This is also the one that I flew a ton at Rampage in Micro Mayhem, and it took so much abuse there. And flying a couple of batteries and then back-to-backing it with this rig, I realized that this poor thing is hurting. The crashes at that place over the last couple of days were all into hardwood, and the ceilings were really high. And this has now started to like turn off in crashes, lose the camera in crashes. So yeah, this might be another 2G4 on its way out, unfortunately. But boy, is it well deserved. This thing has put up with an absolute ridiculous amount of abuse in its life recently in the last like couple of months. So yeah, well deserved. But if we have time, I do want to put this into Betaflight and spin each motor up to see if there's one motor that's like really hurting, because it is definitely down on power. 0702 36,000 kV, and then I back-to-backed it with 0702 29,000 kV. Yes, 29,000 kV on tri-blades, but still, this thing has always made tons of power. And it actually felt like it was making maybe a little bit less power than that guy over there. So something's going on with it. Almost certainly there's a motor shaft that's bent, which is sending a bunch of vibes up into the gyro and whatnot. But yeah, we can start to kind of troubleshoot it a little bit, and we'll figure it out. It still flies totally fine, as you'll see. at the end of the stream. I think I only flew that one battery on this rig. All the other batteries are on this guy. Here's another thing I did. I am starting to notice though. I mean, I've always noticed this, but it's becoming more apparent. Is the difference between tri-blades and bi-blades. And I've always kind of leaned towards the bi-blades because they are a little bit more slidey. And that does more closely approximate the experience that you get from a 5-inch or 3-inch or pretty much anything other than a tiny whoop. And I like that from a perspective of like trying to not have a separate set of muscle memory for tiny whoops and then a separate set of muscle memory for 3-inch rigs, a separate set of muscle memory for 5-inch rigs. I've always tried to get all of my builds to fly as closely to the 5-inch rigs as possible. This is also another reason that I build the 5-inch rigs to be very lightweight so that they don't have as much slide, right? Like the lighter that I can make the 5-inch rigs, the more closely they're gonna fly to this. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, the bi-blades do a better job with that, for sure. But the tri-blades I crash less with because they're less slidey. And that makes me happier. You know, it's yeah, I don't know. And like as things progress for me in FPV, I fly tiny whoops a lot more than I fly 5-inch rigs. So it's coming to a point where it's like, well, I kind of already have, but like maybe I've been doing this backwards. Maybe I should be building everything to fly as close as possible to, right, like 90% of the batteries that I fly, maybe not 90%, maybe 80%, of the batteries that I fly nowadays are on tiny whoops. So what I probably should be doing is just making the tiny whoops fly as good as possible for me and the type of flying that I'm doing. The type of flying that I'm doing is nuts, right? Like flying, like power loops, Matty flips through gates that are this big. And there's like lots of these gates all on top of each other. And so, yeah, I don't know. The love affair with bi-blades might be not really coming to an end, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But that was good. It's always good to have that reality check. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. CMYK says, does the Discord have a trick Q&A channel? It doesn't. It's a great idea, though. I mean, you guys can always feel free to put that anywhere on the Discord. I always love talking about that stuff. But if there was like a specific spot for it, that would potentially like encourage people to ask those kind of questions there. I don't want to have it. We already have a lot of text channels. I try not to add text channels to Discords. I hate when I go on a Discord and there's like 100 text channels. It's so confusing. So I would rather not add a new text channel. I would rather take one of the existing ones that maybe doesn't get used very much and repurpose it. I don't know. Admittedly, I don't spend a ton of time on Discord. Those of you that spend a lot of time on my Discord channel, is there one? It's Car Things. The Car Things Discord channel hasn't had a post in 2.5 weeks. So just like immediately me looking at it, that would be probably the one that would need to go. Is there another Discord channel that's worthless that we should repurpose? Because I like that idea a lot better than some of these. There's also like the HD Master Race one, which is all about like HD video systems. That hasn't had a post in a hot fucking minute. But it is nice to have it. Yeah, I don't know. Those of you that spend a lot of time on my Discord, what are the 2 most worthless channels, text channels, that we can change into trick Q&A? What do you guys think? Message me on Discord with your thoughts, and I'll just blindly do it. Rockworth said... Come on, YouTube. Hold on. I gotta scroll back up and try to find it, because YouTube doesn't know how to make a chat section. Jesus, I'm really behind. Okay. All right. I need to blast through these because we need to look at AJ.fpv's channel today. That's the main thing for this live stream. So, yeah, and it's 4:15 already. Good Lord. Okay, I got to go fast. I also have to shut this shit down at 5 o'clock because I have to shower, and Maggie and I have dance class tonight. Rockworth710 says, I'm hosting bi-weekly Whoop races in San Diego and was hoping you could shoot out my post on the Find a Friend channel on Discord. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for everything. There you guys go. On my Discord, there's a link over on CiottiFPV.com. There is a channel open to everyone called Find a Friend. That's what it's called, right? Find a Local Friend is the name of the Discord channel. It's open to everybody. You don't have to be a patron. Look for Rockworth710's post about bi-weekly Whoop races in San Diego. Or if you're just in San Diego, now you know. Elias says, does it make sense to put the Walksnail 1S VTX on a 65mm for freestyle indoor, or should I build it on a 75mm base for Walksnail freestyler indoor? 65mm for indoor, 75mm for outdoor. The end. There's just it just works. Analog, Walksnail, HD0 doesn't matter. 65 for indoor, 75 for outdoor. The end. Striker says ounces make kilos. Yeah, right. In the rest of the world, ounces make kilos. Kevin James says to fix the bricked flight controller, you boot into DFU mode and flash it. JB answered this earlier. No way. Very cool. There you go. Whoever was asking that question, Kevin James hooked you up. Elias says, you pronounce Porsche right. I'm proud of you. Yeah, if you're into the car world for long enough, you learn how to pronounce shit. Stop saying Porsche, friends. It's not Porsche. It's Porsche. CMYKFPV says, have you tried any of the racer-style tooth floss tensioning braces? I haven't. It just seems to be a bit much, but if it works, do it. I probably won't. I'm lazy. Walter says, no, you make a special for fun, like content, it's an idea for you. What are we talking about here? Make a special for fun? What? What's that mean? I'm confused. Strager says, what do you gain in terms of 6S on 5-inch? Is it worth buying a whole new charger for 6S? Yep, 5-inch is night and day, 4S versus 6S. 6S, you get more power and more runtime. It's just like BT 2.0. More power and more runtime. Rob Axelson says, there's no money in kite building also. If you're the absolute best, there is. But, yeah. Strager says, if I did go 4S on a 5-inch, would 40 amp ESCs be fine? Yes, absolutely. 40, 80, 120, 160, right? There is no battery on Earth that's going to pull 160 amps to be able to blow up a 40 amp ESC. Not to mention that 40 amps is the continuous current rating. The burst rating is probably 50 amps, and there is no battery on Earth that's going to fit on a 5-inch rig that's going to pull 200 amps to blow that ESC up. Anything north of, for a 5-inch rig, any ESC north of 35 amps per channel is totally safe. And you're much better off buying a better quality ESC that's lower amp rated than some janky ass brand that says it's an 80 amp ESC. An Acon 35 amp ESC will outlast pretty much anything else that you're going to find, or a T-motor, because Acon makes the expensive T-motor ESCs, it appears. Parkour Guy says, so about the video call, do you prefer it paid and put it through Fiverr or through PayPal? I prefer PayPal because they don't take any money. But if you want to be protected by Fiverr, totally fine. Fiverr does not take a huge percentage. I think it's only like 13%. But it's, yeah, I mean, look, I'm here. If I rip you off, you can come into every single one of my chats and say, Ciotti's a dickbag. And he ripped me off. I'm too much of a, I have too much of a public personality to rip anybody off, really, right? So, yeah. But you do you, my friends. Whatever works. Zoe101 Doug with a blog says, do you think the LiteAF cockroach frame is better than the regular cockroach V3? Can't think of a downside, but curious your insight. The black one is worthless. Don't buy the black one. It breaks immediately. The white one is pretty goddamn good. This is a very lightweight build, though. I'm curious as to how this would deal with an 18-gram build. It would probably be fine, but I haven't tested it yet, so I can't speak to that. The only thing I don't like about the LiteAF frame is it doesn't have the little hooks. And I use these hooks for the Batwing camera mount for the cinematic analog rigs. Not many people are going to do that, but yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about the LiteAF frame. Other than that, it's awesome, and I'm blown away by it. Rob Axelson says, still can't find the 0702 36,000 kV motors. Had to get the 40,000s and motor limit. Nothing wrong with that. CMYK put in the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dudes. Can I get a channel? Says, that's another reason I want to get into whoops. I think that was at 410. I think maybe we were talking about flying inside. Like, why bother with a simulator if you can just fly inside for real? Terminal Insanity says, I'd love to see smaller than 65mm whoops. Can you maybe you can push some company to make some test frames for you? I really think miniaturizing them would make indoor whooping tons more fun. I have no pull. I know it seems like I do, but I really don't. I don't have an audience big enough with enough like buying power to really get much of anything done. Every once in a while, a company will come to me with an already existing product, and they'll ask me for some feedback. They also come to like 50 other people when they do that. Like, I'm never the only guy. So yeah, I don't have that kind of power, especially when it comes to something that needs to be injection molded, right? Like a differently sized tiny whoop frame is multiple thousands of dollars to create a mold, and then injection molding and making thousands of them and whatnot. So it's really, really, really tough. Not to mention that we would need to talk to one company about, it's not just the frame, right? We would need a new frame. We would need new propellers as well, at the very least. So now we're talking about two different companies having to spend thousands each on new molds. It's really, really tough. Would it be cool? Absolutely. But the other thing is that really the only way for us to go smaller than this footprint is to reduce the size of the AIO, right? Like the AIO, the 25 by 25 AIO, has been the reason why 65 has been the smallest tiny whoop forever. Yes, some of these AIOs have started to pull the sides in here. This is the Mobula 6 2024. But pretty much every time that they've done this, they've sacrificed durability. So I don't necessarily know if I want to. Or they've taken the VTX or the receiver off. At the moment, the most durable AIO is the 2G4, and you can't make this any smaller. Until someone figures out how to shrink the AIO down, still have the VTX on board, still have ELRS on board, and still have it be super durable, I don't want them to change a goddamn thing. So yeah, I think we need to get the AIO situation sorted out first, and then maybe we can kind of think about that. I mean, at this point, we are at like 16.4 grams, I think, on this. I don't really know. I don't really know how much that's going to help things. Yes, I mean, there's space in here. Yes, we can make this a little bit smaller, but man, it's going to go from 65 motor to motor to like, I don't know, 62. And like, I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if it's worth all new frames, all new props for that. You know, and then we're going to have one frame. Is that one frame durable? If not, it was a total waste of time. And then we're going to have one propeller. Is that propeller good? If not, it was a total waste of time, right? Like, changing the standardization is really tough. It requires a lot of money, a lot of effort, and we lose a lot of our options, right? We can still use the same motors. We're not going to be able to use the same AIOs, right? 2G4 no longer works. So it's super tough. I would love it. I would absolutely love it to make these things even lighter and even smaller. But 65 is already so light and so small that I think that going any smaller is going to be sort of, we're going to run into diminishing returns. And right now with 65s, we have shitloads of frame and propeller options, which is great. So it's tough, man. I would love it if it would happen, but it's very difficult. Cole Power says, everybody always asks how to get a tiny whoop to fly like a 5-inch rig, but nobody ever asks how to make a 5-inch fly like a tiny whoop. I love that, man. Rockworth says, thanks so much. You're certainly welcome. Just Mo says, I want to build an AOS Cine35 since I already have the HD0 goggles. Should I build HD0 Walksnail or analog Cinewhoop? It depends on what you're going to do with it. Analog Cinewhoop is going to be the lightest and the cheapest. Walksnail Cinewhoop is going to, out of these three options, it's going to be the middle in weight. It's going to have the best image quality, but it's going to have the worst latency out of these three options. HD0 is going to have the best latency. It's going to be the heaviest, but it's going to have the second worst image quality. So, yeah, I mean, that's tough. Typically with a Cinewhoop, you're building it to fly slowly around people. And what those people are doing is going to have a lot to do with this decision. If you're building it for situations where there's potential of people walking in front of you, latency matters. Because when someone comes out of frame into frame, the latency is going to be how quickly you can react and get the hell out of their way. If you're flying them in controlled scenarios where people are not going to walk out in front of you, people are like on their marks or whatever, there's no chance of people walking out in front of you, then Walksnail is king because the better image quality is going to let you see farther ahead. And that matters for planning a smooth route. That's it. That's how to choose video systems. Look at the scenario that the craft is going to be flown in. Think about latency versus image quality, and that's it. That's how you decide. Jbo888 says, learned to solder enough. Got my Mobile 6 2024 going again, Runcam Nano 3 and ballsack canopy. But now I have terrible jello. I didn't notice it on yours. Did the LiteAF frame reduce jello? No. The Mobile 6 2024s do have jello. It shouldn't be terrible jello. It should only be at like it's a weird point in the middle of the throttle, and it should just pop up every once in a while. If you've got terrible jello, you've probably got something. You've got propellers that are out of balance, or motors with bent motor shafts, or something pushing up against the AIO, something like a wire in between the AIO and the frame, and they're pushed up against each other, so you've hard mounted the AIO, or your camera is not firmly mounted in the canopy or on the little annoying backing plate thing. So yeah, check everything. It's a physical problem. Jello is caused by physical vibrations. And so, yeah, you're not going to fix it in Betaflight. You're going to fix it by staring at it and investigating each individual thing that could be causing either too many vibrations or the vibrations that are there, it's causing them to more easily get up into the camera, or the camera is kind of just shaking on its own. So that's what you want to kind of hunt down. You're never going to get rid of all the jello on the Mobile 6 2024, but you'll be able to get rid of like 98% of it. And then I think I also saw you say, thanks for your soldering advice. Couldn't have done it without you. You are most certainly welcome, my friend. Striker says, what are your thoughts on the Nazgul 5 Eco? cheaper than building right now. I'm thinking my options when I get a 5-inch. I don't like the bind and flies. I don't really know anything about the bind and flies. Check out Joshua Bardwell for reviews on bind and flies. He reviews a lot of them. So yeah, I don't know that rig. Striker also says, want to get a 5-inch desperately, but then I remember my goggle SMA connector broke, so literally don't have diversity for now. And I'm caught up. Awesome. AJ.fpv. Very cool dude. I'm dropping the link to his channel into the chat right now. All right, there you guys go. Get your asses over and subscribe right now. This is a channel with 121 subscribers. And the quality of the content on this channel, there should be a 1 in front of that. This is a channel that should have at least 1,000 subscribers. So tell your friends, send this around, subscribe to it yourself. AJ is a super cool dude that I got to meet at Rotor Riot Rampage this year. Him and his 2 buddies. I'm pissed that I can't remember his 2 buddies' names, but they were super cool as well. They hung out in Micro Mayhem for a while. Yeah, awesome group of guys. Super smart. Great pilots. One of them won the dive contest that we did in Micro Mayhem, and he won a BETAFPV something or other. I forget what it was. Yeah, awesome pilots. Great group of guys. They're up in Canada. They drove, I want to say, 12 hours down to Rotor Riot Rampage, which is awesome. Like, people, look, like, they are, here, let's see, what's his oldest video? I go preseason week 1. Let's see how good he was a year ago. I can tell you how long he's been flying. Yeah, see, he's really good already. So my guess is gonna be that AJ's been flying for, I'm gonna go with three maybe 4 years. He's I'm gonna say two to 4 years. I'm gonna say, because he's already pretty dialed here. It's hard. It's tough for me to guess this because, like, I used to be able to guess it like dead on because FPV used to be a lot harder, and you used to have to spend so much time on the technical side of FPV. Nowadays, I've been like dead wrong. I've been like, oh, this person's definitely been flying for like 4 years, and then it's like, nah, bro, 1 year, just a lot of simulator and like buying bind flies that don't explode immediately. So it's hard to tell, but they've been flying for a while. They're really good, and they're very obviously in this phase of FPV where they'll just do anything, like drive 12 hours to Rampage. There's also a video of them here, Florida Fly Tribe Adventures, right? Like, Florida is probably like 18 hours for them, right? So they're in this phase of FPV where FPV is life, and man, is that a magical time. Your first year in FPV, you're starting to get there, but you don't fly all that good, so it's not like total magic quite yet. Years 2 through, let's say, 3 or 4, yeah, it's nuts, and you'll do anything for it, and that is like the greatest time period in FPV, in my opinion. And these guys are in it, and that's awesome. What's cool about AJ is he either knew how to edit or has taken the time to learn how to edit. Because, and this is one of the reasons that this subscriber number needs to have a 1 in front of it. His stuff is very, very, very watchable. It is edited really clean. It's really, really, really well done. This is a channel that you should binge through, and you should just come up here to, oh, how do you do it? There's a way to just put a playlist on with everything. Yeah. You go into home, and then here it is. So this is a channel that you just want to hit this button on and just let the whole channel run. Everything is really well edited. He's a great pilot. Watching him fly is awesome. And then he's got some really cool people hanging out with him, and he's going to really cool events. There's a Canadian Whoop Championship here. I don't know what WBNE is. Florida Fly Tribe. Some really cool locations. This spot is insane. This spot is insane. Yeah, he's going all over the place. He's meeting cool people. There's Mike from Gem Fan. Here's Izzy. Yeah, just a really, really, really good. He did iGow, it looks like, so you're gonna get. And it looks like he's doing stick cam. So for those of you that learn from stick cam, you can learn a whole bunch about some of these different. I mean, one of the great things about iGow is it forces you to just do like one move at a time. So yeah, you'll learn a lot. Looks like he's also even doing some reviews here. Really, really, really good stuff. You guys owe it to yourselves to binge through this channel. And there's also not so much on this channel that you can't get through it top to bottom, right? We've got a bunch of iGows that are about a minute. They have to be a minute each. And then you've got some really good edited content, right? It's not like 15, 20-minute videos of him just farting around. Like, he's cut this down so that you can get only the good stuff from his channel. I'm sorry, only the good stuff from each one of these edits. And that's like, that is why we edit, right? Like, we edit so that our shit is more watchable. And so when you find a channel with a ton of really watchable stuff, watch it, friends. Do it. So get your asses over to AJ.fpv's channel. Like I said, he's a super cool guy. He did a 6 and change minute rampage edit here that's just awesome. I actually have it open in a tab here. This rampage edit is fan-fucking-tastic. He probably has, my guess is going to be at least 20 hours tied up into this edit. So for the love of God, watch this. Here's his crew. There the three of them are. Really cool dudes. This edit is awesome. This will also give you a really good feel of like look at that. Look how cool that is, man. Come on. Yeah, this will give you a really good feel for Rampage too. They hit the church spot that's on the way into Rampage, which is actually one of my favorite spots ever. They hit Micro Mayhem a bunch. They fly a whole bunch of the flight lines in here. Yeah, really, really well done. There's a bunch of them chasing drift cars. And like I said, he's a great pilot, so this is really, really, really fun to watch. Nothing against people that haven't spent thousands of hours to get really good at flying, but when you find a channel with good editing and good content and they're also a really good pilot, like, that's the mother load. And for a channel like that to have 121 subscribers is insane. And so let's get on that shit. Seriously, send AJ's channel to your friends, guys. Like, this is the shit. One of the things that happens when you go all in on FPV, and you decide that, like, yeah, you're gonna spend every waking hour that you're not working or eating on it, is that you learn to edit. Maybe you learn a little bit about social media, and then you dive into it, and like, nobody cares. Like, it is so hard to get yourself out there. Like, there are so many other FPV pilots. There are so many. Hey, there's me. Yeah, it's really, really, really difficult. Maybe somebody huge like Joshua or any of the other guys with massive channels will feature you, and you'll get 15 or 20 subs from that. It's so hard, man. It is so difficult. And AJ is in this place right now, it feels like, where, like, he's got content that deserves to be watched. And, like, but how do you do that? How do you get people to actually watch it? I don't have the answers. It's taken me 8 years to take this channel here from, like, when I got started, I was somewhere from, like, car content. Like, this channel here has been up for, I don't know, like 14 years, 16 years, something insane like that. But forever, it was just car content. And it was just, like, it was just for fun. But I did put it out there. Like, I posted links to all my car-related shit and all the motorsport stuff everywhere that I possibly could. And I got it to somewhere near 1,000 subscribers. in the last 8 years, it's taken me 8 years to get from 1,000 to now I think it's almost at 10,000. And it all in that time period also was me doing this like as a full-time job, right? Most people can't do that. And what can happen, and what I don't want to happen, is that it just gets completely demoralizing and you're like, fuck it. And you either give up on the channel completely or you give up on FPV completely. And that's just like heartbreaking to see it. And I've seen it happen so many times. And so, yeah, when you guys find these small channels, and when I say small, like what I'm basically saying is like less than 1,000 subs, because like if you have less than 1,000 subs, like you're just gonna beat yourself up and you're gonna be like, oh, this is not worth it. Well, like first and foremost, you gotta kill that mindset. Getting to 1,000 subscribers is mega. Like it's a huge, oh my god, what in the hell is this about? It's a huge accomplishment. What? Stop it! Stop it! Stop showing me this. No, get out of here. But look, it can't be about that. It like there's too much noise. Hold on. Let me keep. I'm gonna keep playing some of his stuff for you guys to watch. It can't be about that. But even if you convince yourself of that, it's still going to be about that to some extent. Like I don't really know how to explain it, but it just is. Like if you're going to dump 20, 30 hours into an edit and then 50 people are going to watch it, that's going to drive you nuts. Even if you work super hard, which you need to convince yourself, like, look, this isn't about that. This is about me making a thing that has, you're making like a time capsule is the way that I like to look at social media in general at this point. You're making a spot that you can revisit 5 years, 10 years from now and put yourself back into that exact period of time, right? And that is magic, right? There's nothing else that really does that. And so that needs to be 99% of why you're making a YouTube channel. And like right now, you're not going to get that magic. You have to wait 10 years. Like when I watch all the motorsport shit that I edited and drove and filmed and whatever from 15 years ago, I remember that specific autocross. I remember the instruction that I did with that student. Like that's insane. That is like such a gift, but you only get that after 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, right? So like right now, when you've got all this momentum and you've got all this like fire in your brain for FPV, you just kind of have to trust me, sort of, I guess, and just keep going with it. But what really does help is to not chase views, not chase subscribers. That is the best way to get out of it, because again, we're super saturated. Even if you get featured on a huge channel. Look, I've been featured on Joshua's channel a bunch, and like some of those videos have 50,000, 100,000 views. I shit you not, I got less than I would get like 10 subs and then like another maybe 15 or 20 over the next like month, and then that's it. Like getting subscribers is incredibly difficult, and you get them one by one by one by one by one, unless you just do like the easy button, like look at right like reviews and stuff like that, right? But like, this is not that. This is the art of FPV. This is not just like, yeah, do whatever I have to do to just get subscribers, right? I'm not a fan of that. Look at this. Get in there, Lewis. And so yeah, this is a guy that is making really, really cool stuff that more people need to watch, and by more people watching it, it will prevent that, like, fuck it, I give up, that everybody feels eventually when they go after it. And yeah, I mean, it's just, look, we're in a time where not a lot of people are doing this, right? Like, edits like this, like what I consider to be like proper FPV edits, used to be a dime a dozen, and they were everywhere, and there was so much good content for us to watch. And now it's much more just like product reviews. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I said earlier, this to me is like the art of FPV. Proper flying edits, vlog type stuff, recaps of events that you've been to. And yeah, there is still a lot of it out here, but for some reason it feels like there's less. I don't know. Support cool people. They're up in Canada. They need all the help they can get. It's cold up there. Come on. If you're going to live up in the cold, gray Canadian area, we need to help you down here in nice, warm America. So yeah, support AJ. Really cool dude. I had a blast hanging out with him and his buddies in Micro Mayhem. And then oddly enough, when I was leaving the hotel, they were staying at the same hotel, and they're like, "Yeah, we got I think it was a 12-hour drive." I was like, "Oh, that sucks, man. I got like an hour and a half to go." I guess it's longer than that. I guess it's like 3 hours. But yeah, that was super cool. So yeah, check it out, friends. This is the Mad Skills MF that we're covering here today. I'm gonna let this one run, and I'm gonna get caught up on chat. You all better here. Hold on. I will shut this stream down and never live stream again if there's not significantly more subscribers on this channel. 136. All right, that's not bad. But I know good and goddamn well that there's more people than that in here. Go subscribe now. If this isn't at 200 by the end of this live stream, I will never live stream again. And it will be your fault. You. Seriously, send this to your friends too. That's how we actually, there's not that many people watching here right now. But if every single one of you guys sends it to one person that you know, then we can exponential this shit. So do it, or I'll smack you with a hammer. Let me leave this on. I'll get caught up on chat. AJ and the boys, thanks for driving all the way down to Rotor Riot Rampage and being super cool, ripping around Micro Mayhem and hanging out with me. That was very cool. I had a blast. And thank you for putting the time in to do proper edits. This is awesome. This is the stuff that we love watching. Hey, I was just there. Just Mo says I'm in some of his videos. I love that. Just Mo also says, I flew with Jello for a while and noticed that the mount for the ball sack canopy was cracked, and it changed a lot. Yeah, the ball sack canopy is tough, but you can break it for sure. And if it breaks, it can very easily wiggle the camera around a bunch. So yeah, check it. Check your stuff. If you got Jello, don't go to Betaflight. Check for mechanical stuff. It is almost never Betaflight related when you have Jello. Striker says there are events in Florida. There are indeed. Florida is arguably the home of FPV right now because of Rotor Riot and Fly Tribe, and there's just tons of people flying in Florida. The home of FPV was Atlanta for the longest time, but it is most certainly not anymore. There are like pretty much there's only a couple of us pro pilots left here in Atlanta that actually fly anymore. There are a ton in Florida. Walter says, what's the best place in America to plant a big indoor flying court? Oh, God. Maybe Florida. Terminal Insanity says, have you considered live streaming outdoors with your bigger quads? I'd love to see some live outdoor flying. Joshua and I have both tried live streaming from like laptops, like outside, and it just sucks. It's just like, it's hard enough to live stream from like a wired in setup here on our desks. Yeah, trying to do it outside is just a technical disaster. So yeah, many have tried, none have really succeeded. Yeah. Also, my it's not that great to fly in the front and backyard here. So you're going to have to suffer through with just tiny whoops and the recorded footage from flying outside. Can I get a channel says, haha. Walter says, you need to hawk that thing. That thing moment. Can I get a channel says, haha. Proton to Go says, what's up? What's up, homie? I haven't seen you in a bit. Proton to Go also says, just came home from ripping, and the Orca just didn't record a thing, although it says it does. That's one of the things that I've been most impressed with the HD0 goggles is they record. They record every time, and they start recording automatically, and they stop recording automatically, and they do it at the right time. Walksnail and DJI, for fuck's sake, don't stop the DVR recording when I disarm. Like, or give me an option to turn that off. That is the stupidest thing ever. If you're gonna make an auto start and stop for DVR, make it start when the video starts coming through. Make it stop when the video stops coming through. We plug our batteries in, and that makes the video start coming through to the goggles. Then eventually we unplug our batteries, and that makes the video stop coming through to the goggles. That is when you should start and stop your DVR. Please. For God's sake. Walter says, you're not going to shit on me, do you? No, I will not. I promise. And then Walter also says, did you see the girl Hawk 2 of that thing? I did. The Hawk 2 thing is lost on me. I'm a little too old for it. But, you know, is what it is. Too old for a lot of things now. It is 4:49. You guys have 11 more minutes of Q&A, and then I'm going to shut this shit down right at 5 o'clock Eastern time here because I need to jump in the shower and get ready to go and move my feet around in a way that does not look so awkward. Look, I bought this when we were on our little trip there. This is a balsa wood rubber band powered airplane. I plan on trying to chase this with a Cinewhoop in 120 frames a second and relive the childhood dream of throwing a flying of having a flying thing go that you can actually see. You know, like as kids we would build these flying things, we would throw them or launch them, and then they get farther away and you can't see the damn things. I want to see if I can chase this thing and get like nice slow motion footage of the rubber band unwinding and have it getting pushed around by the wind. I don't know, I thought it would be cool. It was a couple bucks. Thought that would be a cool thing. Sometimes I have good thoughts. Sometimes I have aha moments. I'm like, oh, that would be super cool. Oh, let's fly. Let's fly. Let's fly. We're going to fly. I put it in the video title, didn't I? Yeah, 6 batteries. We're not going to fly 6, but we'll fly a couple. I don't have many of the gates set up, so let's fly upstairs. Let's actually troubleshoot this a little bit here. I'm going to hook it up to Betaflight, and we'll really quickly spin the motors up to see what's happening there. See if maybe there's just one motor that's shit in the bed. And then I'll fly it around. And you'll see what I mean. It's not making quite as much power as it should. Why am I having such a hard time plugging this in? There we go. Ooh, Brandon's Baked Bean says you can have auto record on DJI on connection with WTFOS. That right there, well, I don't really need it. You know what's funny about that is I don't really need it on DJI. I need it on Walksnail. And I don't think there's a way of doing WTFOS on Walksnail. I'm pretty sure there's not. That's a shame. Yeah, I really don't need it on DJI. I need it on Walksnail for the tiny whoops. Because right now I have to physically push the record button because arm and disarm 1,000,000 times per battery, and Walksnail then chops it up, and it's just dumb. Motors tab. I understand the risks. All right, let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna zoom it in a little bit for you guys. So if you suspect that your rig is having issues, this is one of the easiest things to do. Leave the props on if it's a tiny whoop. Hold it nice and firmly and spin each motor up. And look at the RPM. 64,000. 69,000. Good Lord. 64,000. 64,000. So, yes, one motor is a little bit hotter, but that's okay. That's totally fine. So, the motors themselves are fine. You do not do that test with the props off. All of our tiny whoop motors are now, not all, but most of our tiny whoop motors are now so high of a kV that with the propellers off, the maximum RPM that you're going to see in there is 85,000. That is where basically the ESC can't turn them any faster, which is totally fine because we don't fly them without propellers. We put propellers on them to fly them, and then that slows the motor down considerably. So right there, that's how you tell if you've got one motor or one ESC channel that it's on its way out. You can also do it with turtle mode, flip it into turtle mode, spin each motor up individually, and just listen. You'll hear it. You know, you could hear that one motor just now that cranked up to 69,000. It's higher pitched. It's pretty straightforward. And so the motors are all fine. What that starts to lead me towards is the where are the extra vibrations coming from? Next step is turtle mode. And so we are going to properly put the battery in it, leave the props on, and we're going to see if one of these propellers or one of these motors is drastically out of balance, and that is then sending a whole bunch of extra vibrations up into the AIO and the gyro, which is then making the PID loop freak out. And so this is the next thing that we're going to check. The better thing to do here would be to pull these propellers off and throw them in the garbage and throw a new set of props at it. But before you did that, with the naked motor shafts, do this same test and just take your fingernail. And if this is the motor shaft, get it spinning and put your fingernail next to it. And you will feel every little bit of bend that is in that motor shaft. That's the best way of doing it. This is the super easy way of doing it. Turtle mode, arm, one motor at a time. Only spin it up a little bit. You don't need to spin it up a lot. Most of the vibrations happen around cruising throttle. So don't go full throttle. You won't feel shit. Just go a little bit. Like, here, listen, ready? That's all. That's all you need to spin it to feel the vibes. Don't do that. You won't feel the vibes up at that crazy RPM. Just nice and low. You're holding it so you will feel the vibrations. Go one motor at a time. If one of them is vibrating way harder than the rest, that motor shaft is bent or that propeller is fucked. So one at a time. That one's pretty smooth. That's pretty smooth. That one's a little bent. That one's very smooth. Motor number 4 on the front left corner is the worst. I've done this test a million times. I know what too much vibration feels like. This is not too much vibration. So, yeah. AIO is going. I know that the AIO is going because I'm like losing video and shit every once in a while. So this is probably the AIO is about to die issue. Let's fly it into the ground until it dies, and then we can replace it and have a rig at 100% again. I could absolutely throw a fresh set of propellers at this, but none of them are out of balance enough that I think it's really a problem. I'm looking at the propellers, and I don't see any with like a bunch less pitch or anything like that. So yeah. This is probably AIO is on its way out. scenario. Oh, I forgot about the whole... These things get hot when you leave them plugged in for a long time issue. It'll cool down now. Let's just limp it around for a minute. Whoa, Teddy, I hit him. He seems unfazed. He's coming down. He came out of nowhere. Hey, buddy. See if we can get him to chase it. See if he's still... Oh, he still has a love affair with the tiny whoops. Come on now, I could... Come out in front of it, buddy. Yeah, he still loves them. Good. Good. I'm so afraid I'm going to hit him hard one day and he's going to become afraid of them, but this is not him being afraid of them. He still wants to play. Look at those ears, man. I missed him last couple of days. Oh, yeah. Oh, still loves it. Still loves it. Crisis averted. Yeah, get up in there, buddy. Oh, good boy. Get some snarls going. That was a nice little dance. Yeah, boy. I love this dog. Best FPV dog ever. Oh, God. I could have just run a couple bad batteries in a row through it. You never know. This battery's almost dead. This thing feels pretty fine. I was also flying it in an unfamiliar spot. Now that I'm flying it here, this feels... No, it is a little bit down on power. There is something going on. Oh my God, what am I doing? Hey. Yeah, it feels okay. It doesn't feel quite as insane as I remember it feeling, but I mean, it's still got good power. It's fine. Oh God. Can I get it out? Nope. Alright, so yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. This AIO is going to die at some point, though, and then when I replace it, it'll probably be better, because we tested the motors, we tested the props, everything is fine. Everything is awesome. Hey. Got a little jello in there. Woof. No. Hey, buddy. Can I get a channel? Is out of here? I hope you find that channel, my friend. You can get a channel, is the answer to your question. You can get one. Walter says, put the drone on your forehead. You can feel very well what happens in the drone. My hair is too long for that. It'll pull my hair in and rip it all out. Here we go. Battery number 2. It is now 5 o'clock. This is going to be the last battery, friends. By 6 batteries, I meant 2 batteries. You guys need to fly the additional 4 batteries. So if you were going to fly 6 batteries today, I hate to break it to you, but now you got to fly 10. If you weren't going to fly today, you have to fly 4. Fly every day. Tiny whoop every day. Hey. Nice little bonus there. Hey. That would be sick if I could do that dive and then somehow control my altitude and go down through here. That would be outrageous. I ain't that good, though. I mean, I could crash a million times getting good at it, but you guys probably don't want to watch that. Plus, it's not really... No, it is kind of lined up. Alright, well, I'll try it over time. It is so hard to get my elevation under control at the bottom of this dive, though. Shit! Oh my God, I smacked right into the monitor. Oh my God, why is this happening? Yay! Jesus, I am a mess on the throttle right now. What is going on? Hold on. Let me check the throttle expo out. Cruising throttle, 32%, 33%, 35 I saw. 34, 35. All right, so it should probably be at about 35. Let's check it. Profile, rate, up to go to the bottom. Throttle expo is at 50. Jesus. No, it's at 38. It's right. I'm just flying like a bag of smashed assholes. Look at this dog, man. God. I love you, small dog. Hey. Oh! No, that was the silliest disarm ever. Teddy Spaghetti, where are you going? Tedward, Spaghetti-word, I'm gonna crash into your butt. Ah! Alright, this battery's done. Cool, we flew. Okay, friends. And it looks like I'm caught up in chat. Thanks for hanging, my friends. Go subscribe to AJ. Send his channel to your friends. Dude is doing a great job editing, capturing the spirit of FPV, love of FPV, yeah, all the good things. And thanks to AJ for putting in the work, man. It's hard. It is hard. It is hard work, and it is thankless work. And so, yeah, when somebody's doing it, leave a comment, subscribe, send it to your friends, do all the good things, right? Do it! I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. I have no idea what we'll do. Hey, by the way, I am starting a bag of extra motors that I'm going to send to Butterfly FPV for him to tear them apart and micrometer them and take a look at the way that the stators are wound. Although I could probably... No, I want to do it with Butterfly because he's got the biggest data set so far, and so we'll keep using his micrometer, his setup, right? So yeah. If you guys have like one extra motor, and it's not on that, a couple streams ago we talked about that. We really went through all the Butterfly FPV motors. Yeah, if you have like one extra motor that's not on that list, and you want to donate it to the cause, you can mail it to me and I'll put it in and I'll send it to him, or whatever. But let me know. Don't just mail me one motor because I might already have one that I can put in there. But yeah, let me know. Love you guys. Bye. I'm not ready. Here's another battery from the very cool Airbnb that we stayed at. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Or it's just me looking at the sky. Yeah, no, here we go. Come on. There it is. All right, friends. See you tomorrow night. Thanks for hanging. Bye 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 bye.